Okay, this is my second video for the Ethicomp 2020 conference. This is written by myself only, and it's called, and my name is Kai Kimppo, for those who don't know me yet. And it's called From Just Consequentialism to Intentional Consequentialism in Computing. The paper itself starts with a misunderstanding. In early 2000s, I found James Moore's paper from 1999, Just Consequentialism in Computing, which I apparently did not read as well as I should have, and for over a decade misunderstood what Moore actually meant with deontological in this context. He refers to roles, not to Kant as I had thought, and I created in my head a model on how the paper would approach the ontological consequentialist model. The actual model in the paper goes that if a system design is both just in a Rawlsian sense and the consequences from the system are good, then the system is well designed from an ethical perspective. The designers have done morally right. Now, on the other hand, if the system is unjust and the consequences are bad, the system is definitely bad. Again, from an ethical perspective. And again, the designers in this case then have not done well. Unfortunately, it is much harder to get to know what kind of an answer the model gives if the system is either just, but the consequences nonetheless are bad, or whether the consequences are good, but the system itself is unjust. For example, if the system deals results out justly, but makes less good results than it could, or the consequences are pretty good, but they're spread unjustly to different people. So we don't really know. Now, I had taken the paper to talk about deontological consequentialism based on Kant and Mill, and not on Rawls and Mill, as it actually was. Thus, I came up with the idea that what the model looks at is intent and consequences, not justness and consequences. Thus, practically accidentally, I came up with the different model, in which if intent is good and the consequences are good, the system is morally good, and the designers have put in the effort they should and have done well. Now, if the intent is bad or evil, the purpose and thus the designers of the system are always bad or evil, no matter what the consequences. As with evil intent, the accidentally good consequences do not justify the goodness of a system. You can't intentionally aim to hurt someone and then claim that you actually did something good. It doesn't work like that. So, and of course, if your intent is bad and your consequences are bad, then it's clearly also a problem. Now, I only have one square in my matrix that still remains unclear, which is, what if your intent is good, but the results are bad? Did you do something evil in that case? That I don't really have an answer for. So, unfortunately, consequentialism constrained by principles of justice, as Moore says on page 66, are not enough. A Rawlsian approach adds to the equation only so much. It leaves 2 of the 4 potential boxes still unclear. If, however, we take a Kantian approach, which I've shown here, in which we consider the intent of the actor, then we can answer one more box we can solve one more problem, I guess. Of course, these are not exclusionary. So actually, we should probably try to make a 2 by 2 by 2 box and see what kind of answers we end up with in that context. But that is a question for another paper, not this paper. Especially in the internet as of late, there has been this thought that intent is not magic. And that's of course true. I mean, consequences do matter. They are not irrelevant to pointing out whether something is bad or not. If I die, I'm dead. It doesn't matter why I died, for me. But it does matter to others. The intention or lack thereof of someone killing me is actually meaningful. Especially if we think about situations like an accident versus murder. An accident, I'm dead. Murder, I'm dead. But for one, there will be, hopefully, someone who is found guilty and punished for doing the wrong thing, whereas for the other, there will not be. Or at least there shouldn't be anyone if it's a purely accidental situation where no one has actually done anything wrong per se, but somebody died anyway. So, with that, I leave you, and I hope to finish this paper someday. Unfortunately for Ethicomp, I only did the extended abstract, and here's my presentation on the paper. Bye!